2013 when gunmen attacked the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi. The attacks left at least 60 people dead and about 200 injured. Another notable attack is the 2nd April 2015 attack in Garissa University, northeast Kenya. This gruesome attack left 147 people killed by Al-Shabaab. There have been other numerous terrorist attacks before and after these two high-profile ones. Like Nigeria and Boko Haram, these attacks have left in their wake sorrow, fear, and a security industry that never existed. And much like the 9/11 attacks, they have left the Kenyan government with the arbitrary powers and control that no one could have imagined they would have in the absence of terrorism. In January 2019, the Kenyan government set about collecting the DNA of its citizens among other personal data, citing, amongst other personal data, citing, as you would expect, national security. The registration of the Persons Act was targeted for the amendment for this purpose. On the new amendment, citizens would be expected to provide their DNA samples, their GPS coordinates, hand geometry, earlobe geometry, retina and iris patterns, and voice waves. President Uhuru Kenyatta stated that to enhance the progress made by the Integrated Population Registration Systems, IPRS, my administration will complete a central master population database which will be the authentic single source of truth on personal identity in Kenya. The database will contain information on all Kenyan citizens as well as foreign nationals residing in Kenya. Citizens expressed fears about this move and civil society pushed back. Dennis Mwangi said that one of the key concerns is that access to DNA and lack of a proper framework to safeguard the use of such information opens up Kenyans to a myriad of privacy violations. Rogue state officials or agencies may use the information as a basis to target specific individuals or groups. The data may be used by political organizations to manipulate elections or tamper with the voter register. After the pushback from civil society, the Kenyan government was eventually barred from collecting the citizens' DNA. 3 judges of the High Court, Justices Weldon Kori, Pauline Nyamweya, and Mumbingugi, ruled on Monday, 1st April 2019, that citizens should not be compelled to register. That while it is in the interest of the public to have such data system, it should not infringe on the rights of citizens and foreigners in Kenya. Thank you.
A round of applause. A round of applause for Imo Ebo again. So without further ado, I'm just going to invite the next reader. His name is Nasamu Moses. He'll be reading a part of the book as well. Please, a round of applause for Nasamu Moses as well. Is he here? Good morning, sir. Nice blazer, by the way.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Japhet Omojua. It's interesting, Japhet has asked me to read from a portion of the book that speaks to digital influence. He's someone I respect a lot, and he's built his influence significantly over the past 12 years. And so it's a privilege for me to read from chapter 2. Influence is power, and if that is what you crave, influence can be money too. Before you deploy your influence using any digital platform, first you must understand certain essential values that your audience will be looking for before they embrace your influence: viewpoints, beliefs, etc. First, authenticity is everything. You cannot influence anyone if they do not believe in you or the ideas you share as content. In the era of fake news, you do not want to be that person whose content is often tweeted with cynicism until proven by other sources. Take, for instance, the ability to use digital platforms for social good. It's possible because people trust you. I've led successful crowdfunding efforts using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, GoFundMe, and others. And the campaigns traveled beyond social media. Some donations came from people who heard about the campaigns from digital natives and wanted to help. In the same vein, there are people with good following on social media who are not able to rally people behind any fundraising effort. This may come from low or zero trust. They probably would listen to you on other issues, but would rather not trust you with money because you're proven to be inconsistent and not proven to be trustworthy. To become a person of influence, people must be able to trust you and whatever you say. To get people to act, you need to persuade, and the ability to persuade them depends on your credibility. They cannot believe you if you are not credible, and credibility comes from being consistently truthful. Being famous with thousands or even millions of followers will not change anything if there are credibility issues. Trust is capital. Just follow the classic wise saying, let your yes be yes and your no be no. As an influencer, this should never be equated to digital and social media marketers with some level of following. You must understand that your influence reflects your values. Your role is to identify the issues and yearnings of those you influence, articulate these issues and yearnings with more clarity, and if necessary, help them to start a campaign along that line. Your role as an influencer is not to use people to push your agenda, rather it is to help the people push their agenda. Where your agenda and theirs do not align, make your position clear. They will understand and look to another influencer to lead them on that particular issue. But do not look to swim against the current of your own supporters just because you're the one with a huge following. A leader's legitimacy is derived from those she or he leads. I have seen people mistake their influence for invincibility, but they do not fade away in no time. But they do fade away in no time. If you want to lead and influence people for a long time, you must know when to lead them towards a common goal and when to step back for them to be led by someone else. If you are not sold to that goal, what you must never do is force feed the people with your interest and bias. Once you understand this, digital media platforms will serve as avenues to dispense your influence and values. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for that. That was so well read. Please give another round of applause for Mr. Moses Nasamu. That chapter read like a major key. It felt like poetry. Like JJ, you really wrote that one from the heart. Anyway, we continue with our readings this morning, and I'd like to invite Mr. Nii Odejobi to take the next excerpt from our reading. If he's present in the building, Mr. Nii Odejobi is possibly absent at the moment. Okay, this is him strutting. See, I'm sorry, I mistook you for a supermodel. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, my name is Adeni Odejobi. I'd like to congratulate JJ for the book. So I'm going to be reading from page 62, from chapter 2, Bank of Goodwill. Every brand needs a bank of goodwill, and most brands have it. I developed the idea of a bank of goodwill after witnessing consecutive Nigerian presidents come to power on a huge wave of popularity and goodwill, only to deplete same almost faster than they built it. One against one person for another. They will treat it lightly because, as far as they're concerned, there must be a reason why she did it or he did it. You do not want to be the brand that is behind its own narratives and perception. In the two-way communication reality of social media, you must find a way to encourage your online community in a way that makes them see you as their ally. This will be unlikely if you do not have social media accounts to engage them. It would only happen even if you are online, but your engagements are limited, with your content simply focused on promoting your product or service rather than engaging and addressing the complaints of your community. You build your bank of goodwill by investing in your relationship with your community. When done appropriately, your brand ever gets start out streaming. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Great value and several lessons to be learned there. And if you don't feel motivated to buy the book by now, then I'm not sure we're sitting in the same at the same event at the moment.
Yeah, buy, and then give out after you buy. Anyway, later on during the course of this event, we'll have our second panel discussion, and it will be titled The Impact on Digital and Digital Education, Digital on Big Business, Digital Banking, Music, and Digital Impact of the Digital on Culture. That comes up not too long from now. However, though, we'll have goodwill messages, but before that, it's now time for our first keynote address.
Yes, I'm incredibly excited about this because this gentleman was part of the people who conceived Africa Magic, and of course that's a platform that was very central to my career, both of our careers actually, has launched a plethora of talent across the African continent.
True.
Not only that, he was at the helm of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, and he's also worked with the NFVCB, that's the Sensory Board. So this is somebody with I think over 28 years or over 30 years experience in the media, film and entertainment space. So certainly somebody
definitely one man that a lot of people should look to emulate. And if you're a young person, when you hear this man speak, this is someone that you definitely need to take notes down from because he knows what he's saying. Ladies and gentlemen, do us the honor with a round of applause. Inviting on stage right now, Mr. Emeka Mba for his keynote address.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's an honor to be here. Privileged to stand here before such an esteemed audience to share my thoughts and experience about digital. I'm fortunate to have listened to the first panel because they shared a lot of ideas, which I was taking notes and sort of colored my thinking again and framed new perspectives. And I think that's the most important thing about being in a digital environment, that number one thing is that you are always willing to learn, but more importantly, to adapt. So